For years now, the majority of mainstream news outlets, and even many of the most popular podcasters, have acted as gatekeepers, shaping public opinion by mocking, dismissing, or burying any evidence of extraterrestrial contact. It's not ignorance, it's controlled information. People are trained to laugh at the truth long before they ever hear it. And yet, right in front of our eyes, the testimonies, documents, and whistleblowers keep emerging. And today, I'm going to make it really easy for you to find those documents that the dark ones want hidden so badly. When it comes to extraterrestrial life and off-world contact, the pattern repeats on a global scale. It isn't one lone visionary being dismissed. It's thousands of credible voices, researchers, experiencers, military insiders, engineers, and witnesses who have done the work, only to be told, by controlled media and coordinated influencers, that none of it is real. The tragedy isn't that people doubt, it's that they've been conditioned not to look. And that conditioning is the point. So what can people do? They can become aware. They can stop outsourcing their beliefs to corporations, algorithms, and compensated commentators. They can compare sources, read declassified documents. They can develop discernment and learn to trust it, and they can listen to the direct testimony of various whistleblowers, with the understanding that it's possible that they may be compromised too. Awakening doesn't happen by watching media. It happens when the individual finally says, "I'm done letting others think for me." For decades, world governments insisted that UFOs were weather balloons, misidentified aircraft, or hoaxes. But behind closed doors, militaries were tracking objects performing maneuvers that defy physics. Intelligence agencies were cataloging and analyzing these sightings. And the military was running retrieval and reverse engineering programs that were so compartmentalized that even admirals were denied access. We know this not because of rumors, but because thousands of pages of government-generated documents are now publicly accessible. Many were reluctantly declassified, released through lawsuits, freedom of information battles, or leaked from within the intelligence community. Thousands of pages of government-generated documents are now publicly accessible. These aren't fringe sources. They come from the U.S. Navy, the Department of Defense, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, Congress, NASA archives, and sworn testimony from military and intelligence officials, and I've included links to many of them in the description of this video for your review. So people who say there's no evidence simply haven't looked. Let's start with what the U.S. government itself has acknowledged. In the past few years, the Department of Defense released 3 famous infrared videos, Gimbal, GoFast, and FLIR-1, also called the Tic Tac. These weren't leaked, and they weren't rumors. They were declassified military recordings which have been authenticated by the Pentagon. If you watch them, you see aircraft with no wings, no exhaust, no heat signature, rotating mid-air, accelerating instantly, and outperforming every known aircraft on Earth. Pilots and radar operators testified to Congress that these objects were tracked performing gravity-defying maneuvers that we can't replicate. This isn't drone technology, guys. It's not weather balloons, and it's not swamp gas. Then we have the Inspector General verified whistleblower complaint filed by Intelligence Officer David Grusch, who testified under oath that multiple crash retrieval programs exist, some involving non-human craft and materials. Congress confirmed his credibility, and the Inspector General labeled his allegations as urgent and credible. We also have the Wilson Davis documents, describing a high-ranking admiral's attempt to access a reverse engineering program run by aerospace contractors, and being denied despite his authority. These documents reference craft of unknown origin stored in private facilities beyond congressional oversight. The CIA, NSA, and FBI have also declassified thousands of pages of UFO documentation, including electromagnetic interference cases, radar encounters, recovered materials, and mysterious objects tracked in orbit. These aren't theories, they're the government's own reports. The National Archives maintains the full Project Blue Book library, which contains more than 12,000 UFO cases, hundreds of which remain unexplained with military-grade evidence. NASA's declassified logs include objects entering and leaving Earth's atmosphere with behaviors inconsistent with meteors or satellites. The NSA was sued and forced to release documents that referenced intelligence about unidentified aerial objects, including language that hinted at non-terrestrial communications. Most people have never seen any of this because major media outlets either bury it or spin it to maintain plausible deniability. Then you have the whistleblowers who can't be controlled. Voices like Willis, Alex Collier, and Elena Danaan, whose testimonies break from the sanitized, government-approved narrative. Willis, one of the original Disclosure Project witnesses, spoke openly about classified Navy encounters, radar-confirmed craft, and how information is suppressed through military compartmentalization and intimidation. His accounts align with official declassified documents released years later. Alex Collier and Elena Danaan have provided decades of consistent testimony about extraterrestrial contact, galactic politics, and propulsion technologies that eerily match details appearing in DoD releases and whistleblower reports long after they spoke out. This is why disinformation agents try so hard to discredit them, because their accounts dismantle the carefully scripted, slow-drip disclosure strategy. And now we see a new tactic: controlled opposition whistleblowers who deliver half-truths mixed with disinformation, designed to confuse the public and neutralize credible voices. This technique is as old as the intelligence community itself, and the truth is very simple. Disclosure threatens power. It threatens industries built on fossil fuels, resource extraction, warfare, and scarcity. It threatens governments whose stability depends on secrecy. It threatens the control system built on the idea that humanity is isolated, vulnerable, and dependent on those in power. If humanity knew we were not alone and never have been, everything would change. Energy, medicine, physics, geopolitics, religion, even human identity, and the global economic system. This is why secrecy has been absolute for decades. So what can people do? We're living in an age where both controlled media and controlled whistleblowers are working to hide and distort the truth. As I said, the answer is to stop letting media think for you. Verify the data yourself. Go to the official archives and read the declassified documents. Watch the government-released footage. Study patterns among testimonies. Compare the whistleblowers who have been consistent for decades with those who appeared suddenly with lots of backing, especially if they are repeating the narrative of an echo chamber. Truth doesn't survive because the system protects it. Truth survives because individuals choose to find it. We're now at a turning point in the information age where anyone, not just insiders, can access undeniable evidence that humanity is interacting with something far more advanced than our civilization. Once you see the documents, the footage, and the testimony with your own eyes, the controlled narrative collapses. And that's why you're here, to pierce the veil and reclaim the truth that's been hidden from humanity for far too long. Be sure to check out the large number of links in the description, and research until there's no question in your mind about the existence, or non-existence, of extraterrestrials and how long we have been interacting with them.